As a jeweller, I aim to explore the sensuality of the body through the tactility of the materials. My work enables me to communicate an aspect of myself to those who choose to wear it, articulating my creative energy, allowing the wearer to interpret it at an individual level. It's almost like it's part of me speaking through that work, an aspect of my own personality, however abstract that might be, and it's just a form of communication. I always remember making things. I don't have any particular early memory of jewellery making. I didn't kind of suddenly think, oh, I want to be a jewellery designer. It didn't really work like that. I always kind of liked having projects on the go. And, then when I got a bit older, I was starting to play around with beads and make things to sell and that kind of thing. But that's all just kind of evolved naturally through making and through experiences. I'm interested in lots of different things, of course. I love travelling, and obviously I collect things, bring things back. I draw when I go away, I take photographs, and the visual stimulus that you get from travel, I think that's a kind of core inspiration. And I have a very broad interest in arts in general, so these things inspire and feed into what I'm doing. So I'm using silver and gold predominantly. Silver, which I usually oxidise black, because I like the kind of quality it has to a graphite drawn line. I think silhouette's very important, so to blacken a piece of silver you get a lovely dark line, and then on top of that I'm beginning to incorporate more kind of textile related materials. I feel I have a natural affinity with how they operate, and also that can bring in colour and the spontaneity that a thread can give against the more rigid structure. I'm quite open with the materials that I feel I want to use if it's appropriate. It's really whatever is appropriate for what I'm trying to express in an idea. But I do love metal. I always come back to metal. I think it's just part of where my work stems from, really. It's a kind of hands-on process for me rather than a more thinking, cerebral process. I'm much more working with the materials, what they can do, proportions and placement on collage and things on paper. And I draw, and then I also draw in materials. I do collage materials in books and playing around with what materials can do. I'm very interested in how they respond to what I do with them. And from these I might then evolve them into pieces, and then things will take off on their own path, which is quite often the case. Jewellery, when you see it in galleries, is very static, and it's often behind glass. It's always lovely when there isn't this kind of barrier between the work and the person looking at it. I just think there's a lot of detail and subtleties lost, which seems a bit of a shame, because I think jewellery, it comes alive when it's worn. Generally I tend to make things that can be enjoyed actually and worn, and people can communicate with themselves. In fact, some pieces I've made, people have done an entirely different thing with a neck piece that I would never have thought of, but actually it's quite interesting. So it kind of has its own life and it becomes its own being. It also has a lot of symbolic connotations. It might be given as a present to someone for marking a specific occasion, and just also enjoying it for a sense of fun. I think that's nice that other people can take it off and interpret it in different ways.